Hey guys, gossip and reactions. Marie's take. Baby boomers are now becoming homeless at a rate not seen since the Great Depression has what driven this terrible trend. Let's see what's going on. Many baby boomers across the country are now coming to terms with the hard reality that working for your entire adult life is no longer enough to guarantee you will have a roof over your head in your later years. Thanks in part to series of recessions, high housing costs, and a shortage of affordable housing, older adults are now the fastest growing segment of America's homeless population, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal based on data from Department of Housing and Urban Development. It says the fact that we are seeing elderly homeless is something that we have not seen since the Great Depression. University of Pennsylvania Society Policy Professor Dennis Cohen told the journal what has triggered what some experts are calling a silver tsunami and what they say needs to change to reverse the tide. Let's see, we have more information to come. Baby boomers are increasingly becoming homeless. Dr. Margaret Koshel, a professor of medicine and director of the Center for Vulnerable Populations and Benioff Homelessness and Housing Initiative, the University of California, San Francisco, UCSF, has observed an escalating rate of homelessness among older Americans. In 2020 journal article for the American Society on Aging, Koshel wrote that of all the homeless single adults in the early 1990s, 11% were age 50 and older. By 2003, she says that percentage grew to 37%. Wow, this is crazy, Now, the over 50 demographic represent half of the homeless single adults in the U.S., with no sign of their numbers slowing, leaving baby boomers, those aged 57 to 75, particularly vulnerable. Elderly homelessness has been rare within the contemporary homeless problem. We've always had very few people over 60 who's been homeless historically. Colin from the University of Pennsylvania told PBS NewsHour. But in recent years, Colin says that has changed. Older Americans, he says, are now arguably the fastest rising group. Here's what's changed. After living through multiple recessions, leaving some of them with little savings, aging boomers are now also contending with insufficient affordable housing. Low-cost assisted living centers are extremely limited with labor shortage, inflation, and reduced funding, putting facilities at risk of closing. And let's see, even rent is becoming increasingly out of reach in certain areas like Massachusetts, New York, and Florida. Thank you for putting Florida because they are killing us here. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Florida resident Judy Schroeder told the journal the apartment building she was living in was sold to a new owner, raising her monthly rent by more than $500. Schroeder lost her part-time job, leaving her living off Social Security alone, and couch surfing for months before she finally found a place in late August. I never thought at 71 years old that I would be in this position, she said. Yeah. What can be done? Researchers at UCSF told the journal that about half of the homeless older adults in places like Oakland, California, and New York became unhoused for the first time after their 50s birthdays. These individuals pointed to a major event like the death of a spouse or a medical emergency as the trigger. It is entirely different population, said Kushel. These are people who worked their whole lives. They had typically lives, often working physically demanding jobs, and never made enough to put money away. She says expanding the supplies of affordable housing and availability of rental assistance programs, evictions, protections, and renters' rights could be key to preventing homelessness. Some cities like San Diego have even piloted programs to provide rental subsidized for a limited time to older, low-income adults to help them find their feet. There is also the matter of income, as advocates point out that the federal minimum wage of $7.25 has failed to keep up with inflation. And while most states supplement federal programs like Supplemental Security Income SSI and Social Security Disability Insurance SSDI, Koshel believes increasing SSI or state supplements could make the difference for older adults and those with disabilities struggling to afford housing. In a country as wealthy as the United States, I was thinking about that, homelessness for anyone, but particularly older adult, is unconscionable, Koshel wrote in 2020. We have the means to end homelessness in older adults by increasing affordable housing for older adults, engaging in targeted prevention efforts, and building of success or permanent supportive housing. We can make homelessness for older adults well and brief. Again, guys, why am I reporting this? Because America is the wealthiest country that we know of. I mean, there was so much money going around. And for us to have those older people going around because they are not able to rent a place, to have a place to stay, it's really not nice to hear. And we have people that come from different places, come here and able to make it, able to live a comfortable life. So those people in the early years, they work hard. I don't know if they had enough to save. I don't know if they wasted all. I don't know what happened. I cannot speak for them. But they should be able to find a one-bedroom apartment to sleep under, some nice place, not being on the street, not being comfortable. And some of them are sick. They have not checked, some of them could be diabetes, that could be high blood pressure, all kind of stuff. They need to be medicated. And for them to be on the street, it's really not right. It's not fair. And we're talking about America, where we have billionaires, millionaires, and they just want more and more and not helping people that are in need. It is disgusting. It is outrageous, and something needs to be done. Subscribe and let me know how you feel. Bye.